You may have noticed the theme. There is a general theme running through the evening, that of communication. And so now I would like to introduce to you a stranger in a strange land.
3 weeks ago, I arrived in a town called Yekla, which is a couple of 100 kilometers west of Valencia. I rocked up in the early evening, about 6:30, got off the bus, and was greeted by 3 people I had never met. They came up to me and went, blah, 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 blah. And then they kissed me. And this started a very strange and wonderful journey for me. Because back in Australia, before coming to Spain, I did my A1s. Did my A1 in Spanish. This is beginner Spanish. This is, how do you say hello? Where do you live? I am good. I live here. Excellent. It is not enough, as I'm sure you can understand. Also, it's something that everyone will encounter as they travel. Even when you learn to speak English really well, you're going to rock up in a country like Australia, and you'll rock up and you'll be at the passport control and they go, papers please. Excuse me? Repeat? Papers please. Passport. What are you here for? Sorry? Sorry? In Spain it was the same. Everyone speaks so fast. No matter where you go, the native speakers, they just speak fast. And even when you ask them to slow down, it's like, how you doing? Slow down, please. How you doing? Okay. Slow. How are you doing? Oh, excellent. Thank you. And then, do you want to have some dinner? Ah! And it's so confusing. And this is something everyone's going to encounter as they go along and travel. But there's something wonderful that happens when you just kind of let yourself go with this. I was in this town to work with an organic association. And I was really afraid when I first started because I didn't speak the language, they didn't speak mine, there was no mutual communication. All I had was my smartphone with Google Translate. It's an excellent tool, but it can steer you very wrong. And it can make you say things that are quite inappropriate. And you don't know. But over the course of the time, I relaxed into it. Let myself just kind of go. And asked always, please repeat, please speak slow. And about a week into it, I started to understand the language. I actually began to understand what they were talking about. I was standing at a camp that we were working on, and I had a jigsaw drill in my hand. So a nice power tool. I could take someone's hand off this. And I would go, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Please repeat. Sorry. I'd like to use the Spanish here, but I'm not allowed to use Castellano to explain the confusion here. So sorry, slow. And so he wrote numbers down. Ah! You want me to cut this to 1 meter? Fantastic. See, the good thing is, all over the world, we all use the same numbers. Yes! So for the whole day, my little thing with 3 numbers on it, 1 meter, 100. Like, yeah! This rules! This is great. The next day, I rocked up, and I was given a masonry drill. Now, does anyone know what a masonry drill is? It's about this big, and you kind of hold it like this, and it's got this giant drill piece on it. And you walk up to walls, and they mark a little points, and you go, drill this giant hole in a piece of concrete, right? So they're telling me I need to use this to put holes in the ceiling. I don't speak the language. It's kind of hard to measure things on the ceiling. But I have to stand on a ladder and kind of work out where they want me to use this to drill a hole. And it's kind of crazy. It's a bit weird. But the guy I was working with slowed down his words. And he was like, blah, 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 and then it was metric. Then it was ruler. Oh my God, I understand Spanish. This is incredible. So I got up there with my power. I'm like, yeah. And for the whole day, I'm drilling holes in roofs. I've never used a masonry drill before. Cool, I don't have training. But I did it. A week later, we're still working at this place. And we've got no idea what it's going to look like. There are all these holes in the roof. You know,
Why?
I've been covered in dust. There's all this wood that we've chopped. I cut it all. Yep. And then we get up and we're all working on this beam. And we start screwing things into the roof. I'm like, what are we doing? And he's blah, 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 blah. Okay. Frame. Oh my God. I understand Spanish. This is fantastic. So we're there. Yep. Boop, boop. Put this frame in and I'm like, what are we doing? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. No. Repeat. Please repeat. Blah, 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 blah. Ah. And I grab a piece of wood and I pass it up. He goes, blah, blah, blah. That's the word for wood. And the whole day, blah, 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 blah. A piece of wood. Oh, wait, that's the wrong piece of wood. I recognize that number that he said. Grab another piece of wood. At the end of the day, we'd installed a ceiling. Over the course of 2 weeks, with no Spanish. I knew no Spanish to begin with. He knew no English. We had learned to communicate together by speaking slowly, calmly, patiently, sometimes a little frustratingly. But we had installed a ceiling in a building, and it's an incredible thing. Probably one of the best bosses I've ever had. And I still don't know what he wanted out of me. But if you apply yourself and you take the time to listen clearly when you're in a country and ask very nicely for them to slow down, you start to learn the language, and then you start to learn the dialect, and then you become part of the people. And it's excellent. So.